In this video, we will show you how to replace your control arm alignment camber caster kit on this Ford Ranger. This is part of your front suspension located behind your front wheel. Let's get into it. Okay friend, let's get started on our job. The first thing we have to do is safely raise and support the vehicle so the front wheel's off the ground and the suspension is hanging. Once you've done so, remove your center cover, all 5 of your 19mm lug nuts, and then the wheel. Now that we have the wheel out of the way, we have a clear view of our upper control arm, and at the very end on each side of the control arm is where the mounting bolts will be that we are replacing. Now before we can start removing each of these bolts, we're going to have to dislodge our ABS wire. That's this wire that comes across the frame all the way over towards the front of the vehicle. You'll find you have 2 plastic clips here. Use a small pocket screwdriver or pick, break those free and separate the wire, putting it aside so it does not get damaged throughout this process. We're going to have to continue on to separating the upper ball joint from the steering knuckle. Now when we go to do this, we want to ensure that this does not come pulling down too far forward and potentially damage anything such as your flex hose, your ABS wire, or worse, hit up against your face. Be extremely careful. You can use a bungee cord if necessary. Go ahead and strap this towards the vehicle. After that, we'll continue on with this mounting bolt. To remove this mounting bolt, use a 13mm to hold the bolt head and a 15mm to remove the mounting nut. Just tap this out of here. You might have to use a hammer and punch. Make sure you give your mounting bolt a quick inspection. Replace it as necessary. With that dislodged, let's follow the control arm up to its mounting point. Now for this, you're going to find that you have a 21mm on each side. You have a bolt head coming from the inside towards the outside and a 21mm nut on the outside. Typically, it's a good idea to hold that mounting bolt head still while you remove the mounting nut and then remove the hardware from the area. Before you do so, pay attention to the height of this control arm. This is the original ride height position. Once you do remove this bolt, reinstall your new one and then tighten it while it's in this particular position. That's easiest to do if you remove each of these bolts and install them one at a time. The process for one is the exact same thing as the other. Sometimes you'll find that you have a washer or an adjustment along this side. Ours does not have anything. We'll continue on with pushing out that piece of mounting hardware and remove it from the vehicle. There it is, friend. Before we continue any further, it's important to make sure you clean and inspect both of those mounting areas. For this, you can use a scraper, some sandpaper, whatever you might happen to have handy. With everything nice and clean, let's continue on with the installation of our brand new hardware. You'll find that I have my through bolt, a washer, and then I have my cam adjustment here. It slides right on there. At this point, we'll use some anti-seize along this shafted area here. You do not need to put any anti-seize on the threaded area. Just spread that around. Let's continue on to sliding that straight on through here with our camber adjustment facing straight up. You may have to adjust this one way or the other to get it to slide all the way up against the frame. That really depends on the original alignment position. Of course, when you are done this job, you will be getting an alignment. Let's get the other adjustment on here. Slide that right on the bolt. Press it against the frame as far as possible here. It's very important. New washer, new nut. Before we start tightening this, let's just give this one last look just to confirm that we are seated properly. Once you've done so, continue on with snugging this up and then torquing it to 98 foot-pounds. If you find that you're not seated properly, you can use a 22 millimeter. Turn the bolt head one direction or the other until you're completely seated, and then snug it up. Okay friend, we showed you how to install one of your camber adjustment bolts. The process for one is the exact same thing as the other. Once you have that in there, we can continue on. There we are. Now that we have both sides in there, we'll continue on with resecuring our upper ball joint to the steering knuckle. Carefully align these two areas. Use a pry bar if necessary to bring the control arm down into the proper position and install your through bolt. Let's snug this up and torque it to 46 foot-pounds. At this point, you can remove your strap, and then we'll resecure our ABS wire. Now, as we bring the ABS wire into position, we want to make sure we have each one of those plastic clips seated perfectly into these grooves. Let's bring this over, line it up, lock it in. A quick inspection, make sure that's secure. Do the exact same thing to the other clip. If you find that this is not properly secured, try using a wire tie or something the like. You don't want the ABS wire rattling around on you and potentially getting damaged while you drive down the road. At this point, let's just give this one last inspection and then we can reinstall our wheel. Start on all 5 of your 19 millimeter lug nuts. Bottom them out. Get the wheel safely back on the ground and then you can torque each of these to 100 foot-pounds. With the wheel safely on the ground, let's torque these in a crisscross manner. Torqued. If you have a center cover, go ahead and install that now. Looking along the backside, you'll find that you have 5 ports, 1 for each lug nut. Go ahead and line that up and drive it into place. Double check to make sure it's completely secure so it does not fall off while you're driving down the road. Okay friend, we finished our installation. At this point, you want to make sure you take it for a road test, listen for funny noises, and get yourself safely down to your local alignment shop. Thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.